Today is Saturday, April 18th, 2020. Welcome to the Survivor Fans Podcast. I'm Joanne.
And I'm Stacy.
And this is the Listener Feedback Show for Winners at War Week 10.
We got our recap show we do on Wednesday nights, and then on Saturdays, we turn it over to the super fans for the Listener Feedback Show. So we got 29 super fans who either wrote or recorded on their own or called the voicemail line to share their thoughts about the big family visit episode. And then there was a little bit of strategy right at the end that people want to talk about too, because it was interesting in terms of how it all went down, if not terribly confusing. And so I think some of us just got a vent this week about that and how things are coming together.
All righty then.
Anything we need to cover before we get started?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Just,
No, and...
Well, I thought about Parvati's book on the otter that came out.
Okay.
So if you're interested in that, you can go to owntheotter.com. Check out Parvati's new book for children.
There you go. All right. With that said, let's get started with Pete.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. This is Pete from Boston calling here. Wow, a very emotional roller coaster episode. First part was awesome. I love the content with the loved ones. The second part was even better, but I was dissatisfied with the outcome. And nevertheless, I'm going to let out a great big I was so disgusted that Tyson went home. And what on earth was Jeremy thinking about? That, I think, is going to hurt him, leaving his alliance like that. Tyson tried to convince him, and then Kim playing the idol the wrong way. She even thought, I think, that Tyson was going to go home. I thought she said it in one of her confessionals. It was going to either be her or Tyson. Why would you play for Denise? I knew Denise wasn't going anywhere, even though she got a couple of votes. They're playing right into those cops' hands there. This is for you, Kim Spradlin and Jeremy. Here's some Harry Potter for you and Lord of the Rings. Kim Spradlin, what are you doing playing it precious? That was a major mistake you have made there. Now you will suffer the consequences of cops are us. That's for you, Kim Spradlin. And Jeremy, this is for you. Wingardium Leviosa. You're floating in the air back to tribal. You should have saved that, man. And Kim wasted her idol, too. Oh, my head was spinning. If only it blindsided Sophie. I would have called this a perfect episode. Nick dodges a bullet. Sarah survives again. Tony playing therapy. Hey, Tony now better than Sandra because Tony finally got an immunity win. Great episode for Tony. Love the loved ones visit. Even the ones on Edge got a visit, too. That was awesome seeing Natalie, Nadia, Robin, Amber with their kids, Eben. It was all great. The loved ones was great. I love that they all got to spend time at camp, too. It was a great way to see the kids running around at camp, too. But we'll see, guys. I don't know. Tony right now, guys, I'm starting to think it's his to lose now. Michelle's done nothing. Sophie, maybe. And Nick, I think Nick's going to be a target now. Jeremy's going to be a target. We'll see, guys. This has been a great season. I'm disgusted, though, that Tyson got sent to Edge again. That's too bad. But it was a great episode nevertheless. Curious to hear what everyone else has to say. And here you go. Woo! Take care, everyone.
Whoa, thanks, Pete. Good job, buddy.
All right. Pete is Gollum.
That was a special treat. Next up, we got an email from Justin in Michigan. Hello, everyone. I usually look forward to the loved one visits because I'm a softie, but the segments in this episode were a little too long for me. It would have been okay if this was a 90-minute or 2-hour episode, but for how hectic Tribal was, there was not enough shown of them strategizing at camp to get a grasp of where their heads were at. How did Nick sneak into the Power 5 alliance, and why did Michelle flip on the Outcast 5, for example? We weren't shown any of that. I agree. It's just okay. I was cheering for Kim to play her idol correctly, but to me it seemed like she was a little too fixated on playing it no matter what this Tribal. Either play it for yourself or hold on to it until you have more certainty who the target is my opinion. That's how you get voted out with one in your pocket, though, so that's not the easy road home. I originally thought while watching that Kim should have given it to Jeremy before Tribal to show trust and convince him to stay so they would have his vote, but I read somewhere that this was his last chance to use the safety without power advantage before it expired. If that's the case, I can't blame him at all for utilizing it. Next week, I think Jeremy is in trouble if he doesn't win immunity or find an idol. Although, if Tony goes off the rails and doesn't get an idol or advantage, Sarah might get frustrated enough to turn on him. Most likely, it'll end up being someone random like Ben or Nick, the way things have been going. I'm still liking the way Sophie's been playing. It was a very low-key but smart move for her to convince Sarah to use her Steal a Vote while keeping her idol in her back pocket to use at a more opportune time. Thanks again, Joanna and Stacy, for everything. Can't wait to hear what everyone else's takes. Thank you, Justin. Good job. Next up, we got a call from Christiana.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. This is Christiana from Boston. I thought this week was such a good episode, probably my favorite so far this season. I loved the family visit. I loved everything about it. I know it's not for everyone, and a lot of folks probably will think it took too much time, but I just thought it was so cute to see all of the kids, to see all of the players with their families, and just like that more human side of them. I loved that the Edge of Extinction players got a visit. I know that that's not typical, but in this season, nothing is typical, and I love that we got to see that side of those people as well. I'm glad Tyson got a family visit. I know that was really important to him in coming back to play. So yeah, I loved it. Moving to the rest of the episode, I was happy for Tony that he won immunity finally. And then moving to Tribal Council, there's a lot to unpack there. So going into Tribal, essentially it was a 5-5 split. Jeremy, Tyson, Kim, Michelle, Denise versus Sarah, Sophie, Tony, Nick, and Ben. I debated with a friend whether Jeremy playing that advantage was a good move or not because it inevitably made him look bad. I mean, Wendell pointed that out to the rest of the jury, and I'm sure Kim, Tyson, Denise, and Michelle were not super happy about it, but ultimately it gave him 100% protection and put his fate in his own hands, which I guess is the most important thing because you can always make up with your allies in the jury later, but perception won't really matter if you're not in the game. So I'm assuming that that was the risks that he was assessing. I'm just disappointed because I feel like Kim could have saved him with her idol, and then they could have negated those votes and gotten out who they wanted to get out, but maybe he just didn't want to leave his fate in her hands, which is understandable. I bet Denise wishes she has her second idol right now, though, because they could have split it between Denise and Tyson, who I guess they had assessed it was 50-50 between the two of them, and Kim just picked the wrong person. The odds were against her, and it would have been such an epic takedown, but it required a lot of knowledge that they just didn't have, and she had to make the best guess that she could. But I'm a little confused about the vote because I went and I watched who voted for who. So the Sarah contingency, they didn't split the vote 3-3, which was what I thought the whole point of playing the steal vote advantage, even with the numbers, was, just in case. They split the vote 4-2, which I thought was interesting. Kim and Tyson voted for Sophie, but Michelle still voted for Tyson, presumably out of desperation. But it's a little disappointing because had Michelle stuck with them and had Kim put the idol on Tyson, then they would have had the numbers advantage. And I know there's like a lot of what ifs there and it didn't play out that way, but just my thought was the majority alliance, the 5 people with the 6 votes, put a lot of work in to basically make sure that no matter what possible contingencies that they were going to have the votes, but that was a loophole that could have played out. It didn't, and they're lucky it didn't, but I don't know, I just thought it was weird that they didn't do the 3-3 split when they could have, and could have prevented any idol play from wiping out their majority votes. So I'm looking forward to upcoming episodes. I hope that we keep going on this great streak, and have a good week, everyone. Bye.
Thanks, Christiana. Yeah, it's confusing. A lot of people are talking about the vote, so it didn't quite make sense. Of course, if she had played it for Tyson, then it would have been a 2-2 tie between Sophie and Denise. And
If she who?
Kim
Played the idol.
Yeah, yeah. So somebody was going. They really needed another tool, more information, and another idol. Thanks, Christiana. Next up, we got a call from Cameron.
Hey, Joanna, Stacy, and Survivor fans. This is Cameron from North Carolina. Actually, I didn't write any notes this week. Normally, I always have a full list in which I compile and then read off on this podcast. Didn't do that this week. I was feeling kind of tired on Wednesday night when I was watching it, so I just wanted to enjoy the episode. Let's see. So the family visit, I liked it well enough. I mean, I think I understand Stacy's sentiment and I agree with him, but like I enjoy what at least I can enjoy out of it. I thought Tony seeing his family was really sweet. Side of him we don't really see so much. So the whole tribal council, that just proved to me that I'm not a Sophie fan at all. Once she was, all right, so do we just want to go ahead and just us come over here? When she was doing that thing, I was just, man, screw her. She is the same Sophie from last time. If she wins, she wins. Good for her, but she's my USB too, so can't say I hate her, but I'm not a fan. Jeremy made the right move, and I am glad he made that move, because I'm thinking Kim, Denise, and Tyson, they were going to sell him out. I mean, they knew that he was going to go, and they were willing to just throw him out and just say, hey, we're safe. We're safe one more week. I'm glad he used that advantage for sure, because he wouldn't have been there much longer. But when it came down to the chaos at the end of the day, I kind of knew that Tyson, Kim, or Denise, one of them would be screwed. I was hoping at first maybe it actually did work and that Denise was the one they played it for, but nope. That's not how Jeff reads the votes. Tyson going again. I hate to see it, especially since now I have lost 2 save points, so that's fun. I said Nick would go. What am I even going to say next now? I don't even know. Like, they've really just shifted that voting block so much at week after week. So now Nick's on the in crowd. Kim's not, but Kim hasn't been getting that kind of dangerous edit though. Whereas I don't know about Denise either. This whole season, it's great, don't get me wrong, but just the way the tribals are going, in which we don't know who's going next, we don't know who's going now, really. It's hard for JSFL for sure. It's enjoyable nonetheless. All right, but I hope everyone else has been doing good, and I hope to look forward to some great feedback. See you all.
Thanks, Cameron.
55 people knew. I wasn't in there, but...
I don't know if they knew.
Well, no, but...
They had a good hunch
that was
they
their
acted
guess.
on.
Yes.
Good job, Cameron. Next up, we got a call from Kim.
Hey everybody, this is Kim from North Carolina. You may remember that I don't really love the family visit because I don't like all that emotion, and I really didn't like this one just because, I felt bad for some of the kids. They seemed really confused, but I'm sure it was fine, but it was just a little bit too much for me, and it took up 24 whole minutes. But it was great that the edge of extinction people got to have their families too, and it was neat the way the jury got up and hugged Jeff at the end of the tribal council. As far as the game goes, I was sad to see Tyson go. I really thought Nick was going to go. I was hoping Nick was going to go. I still hope Nick is going to go, but I'm starting to think that maybe Tony's going to go this time, because it was smart of them to get Tyson out, I have to agree. I hope everybody's doing well. Nice to always check in every week and have this great distraction. So I think when Survivor's over this season, I'm definitely going to watch Amazing Race if we're still on this lockdown. Take care, everybody.
I like that sentiment. It is nice to check in every week and hear everyone calling in. We appreciate that. And we appreciate you calling in there, Kim. Yeah, the Amazing Race is picking up, the following Wednesday?
Mm-hmm. The 20th.
And it seems so strange. I can't imagine what it's been like for the people who were on that season, because that was filmed 18 months ago, 19 months by the time it airs, something like that. You can imagine a Survivor season like that? Although we're going into a big uncertainty. Who knows how things are going to play out here with 41 and 42. Thanks again, Kim. Next up, we got an email from Becca, who's currently hunkered down in a hotel in Indiana.
All right, welcome back, Becca. Hi, Joanne and Stacy. Hi, Survivor fans. It's been hard to keep up with Survivor and the podcast during our past few years in one of the stands, but we landed back in the USA a couple of weeks ago, and we're enjoying catching up on Survivor and SFP now that we have super fast, which you all may refer to as regular speed internet. I had to rewind 10 seconds in this week's recap to verify that Stacy said community challenge.
I'm keeping it alive.
Oh, heart emoji. Can you believe that Liam is nearly 9 years old now?
Goodness.
Maybe he'll chime in later this season.
That'd be great.
I thought the family visit was touching. Loved seeing the big emotions from all those tough dads, but I have to say I preferred the visit over at the EOE since Jeff wasn't there asking questions to force the desired response from each castaway. That's all. Take care, everybody. All right. Thanks, Becca, and welcome home.
Next up, we got a call from Shahin.
Hello, Joanne and Stacey. Hello to all the Survivor fans. Shahin here. Not a lot in the beginning that really intrigued me. You know, it was the Loved 1 weekend, but I wasn't as psyched. I'm not usually as psyched about it. I'm not into the lovey-dovey. I did respect the fact that the guys on the Edge extension got their family there. That was good to see. But all in all, not as intrigued as what happened for the rest of the episode, which was obviously Tony winning the Bulletproof Vest, as he mentioned it a few times. He really liked that term. He quite philosophical, and that's what I enjoy about his game. Quite different about his game this season is that he hasn't been as erratic, but I think from what we saw at the end of the episode, I think we're going to see that erratic Tony, and going to be enjoyable from my end to see. I really want to see that Tony. But yeah, really happy for him. He never won a challenge in his season and won the game in Cagayan, and that shows how good he was. He didn't have to win it, albeit I do really respect players that win challenges, like Tom Westman, for example. He won that season, winning, from memory, at least 4 individual immunities. So I do really respect that gameplay, but I do also respect the flip side. Albeit Tony won his season with a lot of scrambling and a lot of mischief. Going now to the Tribal Council, and that's where it really heated up, and I really enjoyed where I think on hindsight it was the correct decision from Jeremy. I think Jeremy made a really good call because he would have been gone. Didn't like how Wendell name dropped him. I think you have to save yourself. This game's now a game on $2 million, not one. So you really have to look out for yourself. The connotation that you're dropping your team, who cares? A new team can be formed. In this game of Survivor, you could literally jump ship at any time and create new fractures and new lines, albeit did enjoy that part where Sophie did split the group into, to the group of 4 and the group of 5. That really delineated things. But as we saw, I think we're going to see another shift, and that whole concept of voting blocks really coming to the fore again. It's going to be really important to see, but I'm a bit unhappy for Tyson. He didn't do anything wrong, didn't put a foot wrong, was unlucky to fall on the other side of the votes. I think there are a few incorrect decisions that were made. I think Sarah didn't have to do what she did, but I can respect the gameplay. I respect most of the gameplay there, but all in all, I think it was a good episode. I really like how he flipped the bird at the end there because he just didn't have the fire tokens, Tyson, but hopefully it really does start to heat up. I'm really liking the last week or two of the game. It was in a little bit of a lull. I do really want to see it heat up, so thanks, guys.
Thank you, Shaheen. Good job. I think we are going to see more and more action. It's going to pick up momentum. Next up, we got a call from Andrew.
Hey Joanne and Stacy, it's Andrew from West Virginia. I hope you guys are doing well. Family visits are one of my favorite episodes of all the seasons that they're on. I'm not a super emotional person, but reunifications always get me. In the line of work I do, I actually work on reunifying kids with their parents. It's always been a soft spot for me. It sheds a new light on all of the people that we see on TV, and it's interesting to just see the very human side of everybody. I was reading on Facebook, it looks like Sandra's family visited her on Ponderosa as well. Joanne, you mentioned not quite understanding why Sarah wanted to use the steal a vote, even though they knew that Jeremy was going to be leaving tribal, and I guess it makes sense. Sophie knew that Kim had an idol. Let's not forget that what was that in the first episode or the second episode? Kim found that idol and split it with Sophie. So Sophie knows that Kim has the idol. And again, according to Jeff Probst, there's a lot we're not being seen, and I'm sure that was brought up in this alliance. Michelle actually voted for Tyson. It didn't show it on the thing. You would have had to look at CBS's website, but Michelle actually voted with the majority. I'm not 100% sure if Michelle and Nick are as far out on the outs as we're led to believe that they are. And I'm almost wondering if Michelle is just doing a very sloppy job of playing in the middle. Because if you guys remember, Sophie said, how about us five go and converse about what we're going to do and pick a name? And Michelle was left out of that. But somehow she ended up voting for Tyson. Did she know? Did she vote for Tyson on the chance that they were voting for her and she wanted another vote? I also want to mention it doesn't matter if Kim played the idol correctly, because if she did play the idol correctly and it negated all of Tyson's votes, it would have gone between a tie with Sophie and Denise, at which point Denise would have lost at the revote. So as much as I'm a fan of Kim and I thought she was a very strong winner in one world, I don't think there was any if Michelle had not flipped, then the idol would not have been played in vain if she would have played it correctly. But Michelle did flip, meaning that somebody in that alliance was going to go home anyway. I think the season's starting to pick up. Tony, I believe, is starting to get what they would call a winner's edit. He was somebody that was really playing under the radar, even for myself, at the beginning of the season, but I really like his character evolution this season, and I would not be upset if he won. I'm not calling it, but I do believe that he's starting to, in my opinion, he's starting to play a winner's game. Go Tony, go everybody. I know every week I'm like, oh, I can't stand this person and blah, 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 but that's just like the viewer in me. But again, after watching these kind of episodes, you really are reminded that these people are humans and it's hard to dislike them. Can't wait to hear what the other fans think, and I will catch you guys next week.
Good job. Thanks, Andrew. Next up, we got a call from Sophie-n-Leila.
Hi, John and Stacey. This is Sophie and
Leila.
And we loved the show last night. We were cheering for
Tony.
Yes, we really liked Tony, and we thought he did really well. He deserved to win, I think, because he hadn't won one before, had he?
No.
Why not?
Because he's very impatient.
Yeah, I think so. We liked that, and I would have changed my USB to Natalie if I had taken part. I would have gone behind Tony because he's a fun person to root for. Next week, I think that Denise will be going home. I think that they see that she's being saved a lot, that she has a story, so maybe they'll just go after her. I think that Tribal was really good. Jeremy if he had been a second later, it would have been a lot better for him. Sarah would have probably taken away his vote, and then it would have been perfect. He could have exited out of Tribal, and it would have just been over and done with. But instead, Sarah just kept on and being annoying and waiting, and I don't know, I'm just not enjoying Sarah, I'm not enjoying Sophie, I'm not enjoying Kim. I just want Rob to get back in the game, and I don't know, it's an okay season. I am enjoying it, but it's not as amazing as I thought it would be. Hopefully it will sort of get better. I did like the family visit, but it's nothing like when Brenda and her dad, oh my goodness, that just got me so emotional. I was in tears when I watched that. Can't remember what season right now, but wow, that was such a good family visit. I don't think there's been an emotional one like that for me since. However, I did like seeing everybody's families and their beautiful kids. It was just really nice. If I was a contestant or on the jury, I wouldn't give the $2 million to anybody who didn't have kids. For some reason, seeing all those cute little babies just made me want to give the money to one of them instead. So sorry, Nick. Sorry, Michelle. You probably wouldn't get my vote just because of that, no matter how good you play. But, right now you're not playing good anyway. I don't know. I think that's about it, right?
I really enjoyed when they were voting about all the whispering when they pulled each other aside. But although they didn't tell us very much about what they were saying while they were whispering, so it was kind of a little bit more of a shock to us when we watched it, I guess. Because usually they'll have small subtitles at the bottom when we watch it.
Right. But not in the whispering. Yeah, that's sort of what's happening a lot in Tribal now, and I kind of miss the days when there wasn't whispering going on a lot. But thank you for everything you do, and stay sane, all you mums out there who are homeschooling your kids. I have developed a twitch in my left eye and a constant headache. It has just been the hardest thing ever to homeschool these kids, so stay safe, everyone. Bye.
Bye!
Thanks, Sophie. Thanks, Leila.
Saw where somebody posted on Facebook. Does anybody know the phone number on to contact a substitute teacher?
The joke's probably getting worn out as of late, huh?
I'm sure.
All right. Next, we got an email from Ed from Milwaukee. Joanne and Stacey, the family visit was too long and too much. I have no recollection of the family visit coming when there were still 10 people in the game, and to bring the kids out along with providing family visits to Exile Island members took up one half of the episode. This meant that we only got 30 minutes of gameplay minus commercials. As such, we got less time seeing the plot develop that led to the chaotic tribal council. Exactly. Was allowing everyone, even those on Exile Island, to get a full family visit part of the deal that Probst had to provide in order to get so many returnees to play this season?
Nope.
No, I don't think it was part of the deal, but he explains in the Q&A with Dalton Ross this week about how that came together, and it was planned from the beginning of the season, and some more details there. There'll be a link in the show notes for you to check it out. Although I'm displeased with the amount of time devoted to the family visit, I wish the show had been able to mention, for the benefit of casual viewers, that Natalie's loved one was her twinnie, Nadia, who teamed with Natalie on Survivor Blood vs. Water 2 and on 2 seasons of The Amazing Race. And even though they did mention that Parvati met her husband through Survivor, they did not mention that her husband is John Fincher, who played on Survivor Samoa. I looked hard, but I could find almost no shots with Danny and her loved ones. Danny's husband is former professional football player Casey Wiegman, but it appears that some other family member came with her child. Yeah, it looked like it was her mom or mother-in-law, huh? Yeah. Maybe Danny and Casey can pull a Culpepper and come back in a future Blood versus Water season. Well, you're just reacting because of Culpepper.
Culpepper.
I agree with Russell Hantz, who said on his YouTube channel that the extended family visit should not have been televised. P.S. This is the first time I've ever agreed with Russell Hantz. This would have made an excellent extended video for CBS All Access. Gotta agree there. I noticed that the scene with Ethan telling his wife that he would never leave her again was filmed underneath the flag. I almost thought that Ethan was going to raise the flag and go home with his wife. Now, back to the game. A couple of weeks ago, Tony talked about the need to align with the Lions to knock off the Hyenas, but this week 2 Lions, Tyson and Jeremy, were turned into prey by Tony the Tiger. It seems as though there is a different set of alliances every week. I have forgotten what the original tribes were. This week, the game centered around Team Tony versus Team Kim. I've watched this week's tribal several times and my head's still spinning. I can't figure out which team Michelle is truly on. Is she still aligned with Nick? Jeremy made the right move by playing his advantage, but I wonder what would have happened if Sarah had spoken first. My head hurts too much to figure this one out. All right, thanks, Ed. Next up, we got a call from Noelle-n-Immie.
Hi, everyone. It's Noelle.
And Immie.
Calling from Albuquerque with our feedback. Immie, what did you think of that episode?
I loved the family visit. It was so sweet. And then all the kids came out, and even the people on Extinction got to see their kids, too.
That made me happy, too. I love the family visits. I always cry my eyes out.
Yeah.
And I know Stacy does, too, even though he pretends that he doesn't care about the family visit. I know that he's at home crying, and Joanne's going to tell us the truth, even if Stacy won't. Right, Joanne? I bet the kids had a lot of fun at the hotel, playing together in the pool and stuff. Yeah. I thought that was great that they were all close in age, because I bet they had so much fun in Fiji together.
Yeah.
That was good. Oh, okay. So I'm going to move to the tribal council because I'm looking at my notes. And I was going to say that it's crazy because it eventually occurred to me that Kim's idol, remember, it used to be 2 halves, and she gave the first half to Sophie, and then she tried to use it later to vote Sophie out, which was really interesting to me, because if I was watching the season all over again, I think that might be notable. And Sophie even said at the time, remember, Kim shouldn't trust me. Yeah. And so Sophie knew that Kim had an idol. I wonder if that's why they haven't tried to get Kim out yet. And that's probably how they knew to split the votes after Jeremy left Tribal. Maybe they were going to split the votes anyway because they knew that Kim had an idol. So anyway, that was cool. And so a lot of people used up all their advantages. So it's really going to be interesting to see how many people were being shielded by having an advantage. I think I might pick Kim to get voted out on that note. Oh, and then also I thought what's interesting was Nick voted with Sarah. She gave him Chinese food last week, and he was, I still don't trust her just because she gave me Chinese food. But again, the way to a man's heart is through his stomach, right? Yeah. She gave him Chinese food, and then he voted with her. Yep. And then every time Tyson plays Survivor, he cries more and more each time. And I love it because he's obviously embarrassed and trying not to do it on camera. But I think it makes him more human because usually he's so sassy. that seeing him have some other kind of emotion, I think, balances out his character. So I think that's all that I can fit into this recording. What do you think is going to happen?
I think that they're finally going to realize how big of a threat Sarah and Sophie are together, and they're going to try to get out one of them from the Power Alliance.
You don't think it's too late? Because Sophie still has an idol.
Nope.
All right. Because I was thinking Sophie didn't try playing her idol, so she must have knew she was safe. And that's when it occurred to me, well, she knew Kim had an idol. That's how they knew to split the votes. That's how she knew she was safe, yada, yada, yada. We'll see what happens. She still has an idol, so I think she's going to be safe for now, but we'll see. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Noelle. Thanks, Emmy. Good job. Next up, we got a call from Yasmin-Conner-n-Hunter.
It's Yasmin
And Connor.
And Hunter!
from Northern California with our feedback on Survivor. This is the first time we've recorded, so we hope we do okay. First off, I'm not a fan of the loved ones visits. It feels like a waste of time, and this season with the addition of loved ones on EOE, it's cutting into more game time.
I think it does take up a lot of time, but I like to see them happy and having some fun. The feast that they had also looked really good.
Hunter, what did you think about the immunity challenge?
It looked really hard. I am surprised Tony won because, like he said, he is fast and clumsy, not slow and steady. But congratulations to him for his first win of individual immunity.
So we saw very little gameplay and strategizing before Tribal, and yet again I was annoyed by not knowing what was being said because of all the whispering. It's interesting, though, that Sophie finally just said, let's go over here and discuss. I wonder if that's going to bite her in the butt a little bit because it shows how hard she's playing and that she's actually really controlling the game. I'm also worried for Jeremy that his allies might be angry at him for leaving before the vote and leaving them with 4 versus 5.
I do think he made the right move because I think he would have been voted out if he hadn't done that, given that the other group had to reconvene after he used his safety. Clearly they were going after him. Kim, unfortunately, made the wrong choice between Denise and Tyson. I think she chose Denise because Sarah stole Denise's vote. As for next week, like usual, we have no idea what will happen. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
So you know.
Hold on. Good job, Yasmin-Conner-n-Hunter, on your first audio feedback. Sorry, go ahead. You know. Uh-oh, I bumped it.
Oh, I think, though, if Jeremy had hung in there, it could have had a different result because they probably all would have voted for him. That would have been obvious, and Kim could have played the idol for Jeremy, and it could have worked. Though I don't blame Jeremy at all
Are you forgetting about
for
the
not
steal a
taking
vote?
that chance. Well, yes.
Okay.
If I'm just saying, if they didn't
If we change the parameters
play
of
the
the
steal
scenario.
vote,
Yes, you're right. It could have gone
Sarah
a different
hadn't
way
played it
if
at
you
that
changed
time.
things. Yes. I agree.
but I think that's what made Jeremy fully decide to, no, I don't know what
Wait,
she's
what
going
was
to
it?
do, so I'm out of here.
Fully decide to.
All right, I'm going to have to poke you in the rib.
Next up, we got a call from John and Ann.
Hi, I'm John.
And I'm Ann. John, what did you think of that immunity challenge?
I liked it. It was pretty cool.
Did you think it looked hard?
Yeah, super hard.
Super hard. Yeah, I tried reaching back behind me to grab puzzle pieces, and it was really hard, so I don't know how they did that. I think you could do it, though, John. You're pretty flexible. Did you think Tony was going to win?
Yeah.
I was kind of surprised. Do you have any other thoughts on the episode, John?
No.
No? Okay. Well, I was not surprised that there was no reward challenge because of the loved ones visit. I thought because of the kids that they wouldn't only allow certain kids to see their parents. And also I think because Jeff, as a producer and a former talk show host, he wanted to have those moments. And it was kind of awkward. It was almost like he was auditioning for the next Blood versus Water cast and asking the kids different questions. I personally don't usually really look forward to the loved ones visits because it does seem very forced, and so I found this extra long one insincere. So Stacey, you're not the only one. And I also felt bad for the younger kids because they seemed very overwhelmed by the situation. It's kind of a lot of pressure to put young kids under. But John, you got any other thoughts?
No.
Come back. Well, that's all I got, really. We're really enjoying listening to everybody as we're home. You want to say bye, John?
Bye.
Bye, everybody. Thanks, Joanne and Stacy. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, John and Ann. I blame Kyle from Calgary, Canada for that. He started these long buys.
Hi.
Next up, we've got an email from Liina in Estonia.
Hi, this was a crazy episode. On the family visit, who decides whose families come first? Jeremy was going insane and was frustrated about the wait. I would be too. Seeing everybody else with families, not knowing how long you have to be with them, that's insane. It was nice that everybody got a visit, including EOE. I like the challenges that have more to do than just stand there or hold something.
Oh, you're going to be so disappointed in this coming week.
Yeah. The vote off and everything going on with that, including talks in camp. I'm sure that the vote was Jeremy.
Yep.
So he made the right decision. Sarah and Jeremy were funny with Jeff. Oh, hey, yeah, nothing. Next time on Survivor, Tony with the red bag, definitely not a challenge. He's running out of the woods, and also in the next scene, a red bag is hanging right next to Ben. I think Tony thinks that Ben has an idol and wants to go through his bag. Anyway, thanks for your podcast and stay safe. All right, you too, Liina. Good job. Up next, we have a call from David.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. It's David in Pittsburgh. Wow, what a show. Well, it was the mother of all family reunions, and I have to say I went through a box of Kleenex, not only watching the players still in the game, but when they also sent out the ship of relatives to edge of extinction, I lost it. I just thought that was so great. What a great thing for all the players. What a tribute to them. And again, that's what makes us watching. These are great players. It was something that they really earned. And Jeff getting the group hug at the end was just perfect. So on to Tribal Council. I have to say, I thought Jeremy made the only move he could make. That was the time to go, because I think they were going to vote for him, and that's why they had to change their plans. And I can't help play the what-if game, because if Kim guessed correctly and saved Tyson, and if Michelle hadn't jumped ship, Sophie would have gone home with an immunity idol in her pocket, and that would have been priceless. I would have been cheering. Even though I like the game Sophie's playing, I would have liked to see that happen. I kind of didn't like it when the five of them got together. She said, come on over and let's decide. And I'm beginning to wonder if it's a good idea to be able to strategize during the tribal council. A few other things. Michelle is dropping in my ranking of who I think will win when she asked him, who do you want me to vote, or what do you want me to do? I thought, yeah, she's no longer in control of this game in any way, shape, or form. And Tony's dropping. What happened with this lions and hyenas bit? What made him suddenly switch to working with Nick, the hyena, against the lions, Jeremy and Tyson? I thought he was going to be using these meat shields to further his game. I think Sarah is playing a great game. And I think it may be Sarah or Sophie's game to lose, but we shall see. We're now 5 together, and on the other, I guess, team, you're going to have 4, Jeremy, Kim, Michelle, and Denise, and those 4 have nothing in the way of advantages, and Sophie still has her hidden immunity idol. I just don't know if anybody's going to jump ship, because one person can be the swing vote between the two. I'm looking at you, Nick, but we'll see how that goes. Can't wait to watch the next episode and hear what the other fans have to say. Bye.
Great work. Thanks, David. Next up, we got a call from Slappy.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. It's Slappy McGee. How you guys doing? Hope you're doing okay. Enjoying the podcast. Enjoying the Survivors. It's great. I'm not crying. You're crying. It was an emotional moment. It was really kind of extra emotional with all the family stuff. Except for Stacy, who seems to not have a soul. Stacy, what's happening? Why? Why, sir? Why? I know. I understand your reasoning. But Joanne, you keep giving him a hard time. That guy needs to open up his emotional boundaries. Anyway, it was real nice. I enjoyed it. Getting to the show itself, you know, I had Jeremy going. I had picked Jeremy to go. I was feeling great. And then he just walks out. He just, you know, we're having a dinner, we're having a get together, and he just leaves right in the middle of the pineapple turnover. Come on, why are you leaving, Jeremy? Come back. We got to vote you out. It was a smart move. I'm glad he did it. Actually, I like Jeremy. I had a feeling he was going, though. That's why I'd chosen to go. But he didn't. And so I'm left holding the bag, as it were. I have to finish his slice of pineapple turnover for him. And I also had picked Tyson as safe. And so I got double whammied. Jeremy, you messed me up, man. Because you left, and then they sent Tyson away. And now I only got 3 points instead of 5. And now Stacy's calling me out. Giving me a hard time. That's fine. I like that trash talk, actually. Thank you, Stacey. I appreciate that. I enjoy a good little trash talking. And speaking of which, I'm going to trash talk Sarah a little bit because I don't understand the idea behind the splitting the votes thing. Here's my thought. So they got rid of Denise's vote, right? And then she stole a vote, which means they would have like 6 votes, right? So why didn't they just split it 3 and 3, knowing that the other team only had like 3 votes? And then if they got a tie because someone had an idol or something like that, then they would have to go to a revote, right? That's the way it used to work. They had a revote before drawing rocks or anything because you didn't go straight to rocks. Or have the rules changed? And that could be that the rules have changed and they go straight to rocks. But it used to be where if they had a tie, you would revote, and the 2 people who the tie was between did not get to vote. So if they'd done that, then they would have secured themselves. But maybe they don't do that anymore. So let me know, because you guys know all the changes and rules and stuff. So that's why I was kind of surprised that they didn't do the 3 and 3 instead of I think they went 4 and 2. So that was my question there. Regardless, take care, guys. Have some fun when you can, and hopefully we can. By the time Survivor's over with, we'll all be good, right? So take care now. I look forward to hearing everybody. Slappy out.
Yeah, that would be nice.
I think he was forgetting about Michelle, though.
Yeah, that somehow they got word to her and she decided to go ahead and flip.
Well, not only that, but if Michelle voted with, it would have been.
Oh, you mean for 4?
Yeah. Well, no, that would be.
No, 3. My
3.
bad. Never mind. I looked up and counted 4 because Jeremy was in the row. Yeah, okay. Forgetting about Michelle.
No,
in what sense?
I guess not, because it would still be 3. No matter who, yeah. Okay.
There's no end to the confusion that the voting strategy took this week. There's more to come. Good job, Slappy. Next up, we got a call from Brittney.
Hello, this is Brittney from Indiana. First-time caller, long-time listener. I wanted to call this week and say that I really loved the loved ones visit. It was great to see everyone's family and see what they're playing for and who they're playing for. It really struck a chord with me because I have a little one, and I couldn't be gone for 39 days from my little one. So it really made me tear up. I did want to also say I think Tony did fantastic with the immunity challenge. First time winning one in 4 seasons. I think that's crazy. He also is having a really good edit, so he might be the potential winner. I hope not, because I have Sarah as my USB, but I wouldn't be mad with Tony. He's really surprised me this season. About Tribal Council, I really thought it was weird with all the live tribal. I really wish we could hear what they were saying so we would know what's going on, but there's no way for them to do that. Maybe they'll figure something out one day so we can hear those little conversations. Jeremy definitely was going to be going home if it wasn't for him using his get out of jail free card, but I thought they did a good choice getting rid of Tyson. I can't wait to see what next week brings. It doesn't look good for Tony, so I don't know if that's who I'm going to pick. I'm going to listen to the listener feedback and see what everyone else has to say. Thank you, Joanne and Stacy, for all you do, and stay safe, everyone.
Thanks, Brittany. Good job. Next up, we got an email from Bart in Nashville. Hey, Joanne and Stacy, I'm in the same camp as Stacy, typically being fairly indifferent to family visits. However, this time the edge one did get me a little. I think it was the way the family was introduced. In the normal game, Jeff tells them what's happening, and then the family members trickle out, giving the castaways a minute to process. This time on the edge, we got to see the raw emotion of them literally dropping everything and running to the boat as soon as they found out what was going on. It's a small difference, but I think seeing the natural reaction with no restraint actually did hit me in the feels for once. As for the Jeremy and Sarah showdown, I have multiple questions. First, what would have happened if Sarah did end up going first and stealing Jeremy's vote? If he then tried to use his advantage, would his vote, now in Sarah's possession, still be lost? That would have made it set up an interesting sequence. Yeah. That would be something if he was able to eliminate a vote that no longer belonged to him. Yeah, that would be cool. That he claimed it, exited, and took his vote
But
back.
Sarah would be, that's not fair.
Yeah.
That doesn't
Yeah, it's a way to cancel out the steal a vote. I didn't even think of that. That's really good. Or from another perspective, what if he tried to play his advantage and due to no longer possessing a vote, Jeff informed him that his advantage was unplayable and he couldn't end up leaving? I believe in all reality, if Sarah did end up going first and taking his vote, if Jeremy was to play his advantage at that point, he would be able to leave and Sarah would get to keep his vote. But it's fun to think about how he could have been stuck or taken away a vote that he no longer had. I truly do not understand why Sarah played her steal a vote. It moved the numbers from 5-4 to 6-3. However, her alliance voted 4-2. With the remaining 3 from the other alliance voting together, a correctly played Kim idol would have sent their choice home. No, I don't think it works that way. No different than if the vote was not stolen. The only reason I can think of was that it was done to try and throw off the scent of who the votes were going to. If that was the case, then although not needed for vote reasons, it did succeed. Yeah, it did indeed in that case, huh? Lastly, I want to say thank you for all that you do with this show. Having moved both work and grad school to at home and online, this past month has resulted in me sitting in the same spot for about 12 hours a day, having the Survivor community to listen to while stepping away and getting a walking break in has helped with the monotony. It is something I truly look forward to weekly. So thank you. And thank you, Bart. Thanks for being a part of it here. Yeah, we're able to give back to each other a little bit of relief from everything that's going on by doing this. Next up, we got a call from Chris.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. Hey, Survivor fans. This is Chris in last place. And I'm really enjoying Survivor. It's great. I'm playing last place because, you know, I like to perform. So, sorry, everyone. You're going to have to hear me sing another song. I love the family visit, and I was impressed by my USB's family. I'm pulling for Kim. I think she can do it. Well, that's what I thought at the beginning of the year anyway. I'm just now delightfully surprised. I thought it was great. I think that Jeff's really bending the rules when it comes time to vote. And, you know, it's still like, anybody want to do anything? Okay, it's time to vote. You have to say it before it's time. Anybody want to say anything? And I can understand because they put such an investment into these trinkets and this Easter egg bunny hunt. So we need a payoff, and we can bend the rules for that. We can bend the rules to let Ben be a winner. Hey, why not? Ben has as much a right to be a winner as I have to be in the side challenge. Hey, have a great week, everyone.
All right. Thanks, Chris. Good job. Next up, we got a call from Lisa.
Hello, Survivor fans. Hello, Joanne and Stacy. This is Lisa from the UAE. My goodness, the first 20 minutes of the show had me in a puddle of tears. The family visit really touched my heart. I think possibly too because I live overseas and I know what it is to live away from family, and I know what it is to be separate from them for extended periods of time. These visits always just like touch my heart. So I was happy that no one had to play for the advantage of seeing their family, and even the edge of extinction got to see their family too, so that's great. So then the game starts, and so we have Tony winning the immunity challenge. I thought that was great. And him saying, whoa, I want a game of patience, you know, and he was saying also like he's usually fast and sloppy rather than slow and steady. Oh, that was great. What a great win for Tony. And then we go on to, you know, people scrambling. So we see the imagery of the beehive with the bees buzzing everywhere. We hear several names, but the biggest name I think was Jeremy. And did he save himself using his advantage? I do believe he saved himself this week with that advantage. So I think his name was on the chopping block. He saw the writing on the wall and he left. And after he left, people were scrambling. And unfortunately, he left his group in a lurch. And so I think he has put himself as an even bigger target for next week. And even though he was featured in the next week on Survivor, I don't know. If I was in JSFL, I think I would put Jeremy's name down to be sent home because he screwed his own alliance over. And the other ones want him out as well. So it'll be interesting to see what happens next week. And, just with the advantage you get in this week. Now, Kim doesn't have her immunity anymore. Sarah doesn't have her steal a vote. So the only one with an advantage now is Michelle. So she's the only one with even a modicum of power. So it'll be interesting to see if there'll be more idols found next week or what's going to happen. Yeah, look forward to hearing what everyone has to say and what your judgment is about the whole situation. Take care, everyone. Stay safe.
Thanks, Lisa. Remember, Sophie's got her idol, too, so she's still got an immunity idol. That's pretty much the most power that's in the game right now. I won't be surprised if we do see him find another idol, and I'm almost 100% positive that there's an advantage coming in from Edge of Extinction in the upcoming episode, so they'll get some more tools to power back up this week, or at least one. Good job, Lisa. Next up, we got a call from Rashmi.
Hello, Joanne and Stacy and all my Survivor friends. I hope everybody is keeping well. This particular episode I don't think was my favorite so far. Number one, I do not like the family visits with all the crying and the emotion and Jeff's psychobabble. It's just too much. Then there was no challenge. And also I just found the tribal really disappointing because we as viewers, at least that's what I feel, I cannot figure out what is going on with everybody carrying on with their whispering and the getting into huddles. Because in the earlier tribals, Jeff used to ask pointed questions where people didn't have a choice, had to speak up, and we found out a little bit about the strategy and what was going on. Here, I don't know what's happening, and then the voting happens. The only positive out of the whole episode was that I got a vote of point. I got Tyson. I think Jeremiah mentioned, and I thought, oh, that's a good point. I'm going to put Tyson as my vote off. So apart from that, didn't do it much for me except for seeing all the children and, it's okay. I'm looking forward to the next one where something happens. Oh, yes, another thing I wanted to mention was, there's so many advantages. Everybody's playing an advantage. I just think the whole essence of Survivor, it just seems to have got lost in this episode. I'm sorry for being such a negative Nancy, but that's how I feel. On that note, hey guys, keep safe. I hope everybody's keeping well, and even if you're locked indoors, do take care of yourselves, and namaste. Bye for now.
Namaste. Thank you, Rashmi. Next up, we got an email from Jack in California.
The family visit this time around was very special and did get quite emotional. I don't normally get sad when I see those reunions, but this one with bringing entire families out for the cast was special, and it was great to actually see kids having fun on the island. I didn't expect to see the group on the Edge of Extinction also getting the special visit, but it was nice to see everyone enjoy family time. I had a feeling with all of the kids and families out there that they wouldn't have a reward challenge, just because that would have been very rough on the cast to send any family away after the win. So I think it was nice that everyone was able to enjoy island time together. When it came to the actual gameplay and vote out, I do think the visit powered everyone up to play harder, and it showed during Tribal when the group separated to make the final vote out decision. All right, thanks, Jack. Up next, we have a call from Rebecca.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. This is Rebecca calling from Northern California. Oh, my God. I don't know if I'm just extra emotional because, Stacy, I'm like you. Usually I feel like the family visits are just trying really hard to manipulate us emotionally. I'm watching it, and Jeff Probst, tell me how bad you feel right now. I mean, is this not like the saddest thing that's ever happened to you? Can you cry a little bit? Here comes your family! But this one got me, guys. I was bawling. As soon as Kim's family came out, I was like, oh my God, they're children. I was watching it going, oh, this is going to be so cruel if they just take their kids away. So I thought it was great for them to break protocol and show them all just enjoying each other and enjoying their families. And then, you know, you cut to edge of extinction, which I know I'm one of the minority who really likes it. And from the moment they said, it's our families, and Amber got this look like, oh my God, my kids, and went running at waterworks, complete waterworks. When she yelled goodbye, I love you, I was just bawling. And all I could think of is because we're dealing with this virus, and a lot of us can't see our families. I'm in California, my family's in New York, and if any of them got sick, I couldn't go to them. I wouldn't be able to see them, and I think about it every day. So, Survivor, you got me with that family visit, and it was beautiful. And I don't know if I was watching This Is Us or Survivor, but it was beautiful. So back to the game. It was really hard making picks this week. I tend to pick with my heart sometimes, not my head. I knew it was logical to make Tyson the vote off, but I just couldn't do it, so I lost the safe point, but I don't care. I love Tyson. I just thought it was so interesting, the dynamics on how a week ago, Nick's totally on the chopping block, and he's about to get voted out, and then this week, he's in within the majority. It's just crazy how fast the game changes. But I found it very exciting to watch all the advantages and the idols he played, and how even at Tribal it just kept switching directions. I love when the game is played at that level, and I think it's great that Jeremy played his safety without power. I think it's going to bite him in his butt next week. I think there's going to be a lot of explaining to do. I think it bought him a couple more days, but can he get beyond it? I don't know. It's the first time we've seen that advantage played. I can't wait to see what the reaction is. I loved the steal a vote. Stacey, thank you for making me crack up so much this morning, drinking my coffee, listening to the podcast, which, guys, I love the podcast so much. When you were talking about Ethan being like, I will never leave you again, and then she gets on the boat and takes off. I laughed so hard, I think coffee came out of my nose. That was a wonderful moment. When they got to Michelle, and they were like, Michelle, let's bring out your loved one. I half expected Jeff Probst to be like, Wenzel, come on out. I hope everybody is doing great and not feeling too much anxiety. And thank God for Survivor and the podcast and the community, because it is really making all this bearable. Thanks again for all you do. I'm so glad I got my feedback in. I was brain dead the last couple of weeks. All right, guys. Bye.
Thanks, Rebecca. We're glad you got your feedback in, too. Good job. Next up, we got a call from Jade-n-Christine.
Hi, Stacy and Joanne and Survivor fans. This is Jade.
And Christine.
From Hawaii.
Aloha.
So I will admit that I was totally wrong about the Women's Alliance.
way off with the Women's Alliance. It's wishful thinking.
Yeah, I think it was just wishful thinking. I thought that would be really cool, but now I just have no idea who's aligned with who. I have no thoughts on that.
Whatever.
I can't even guess.
It's just such a strange season, and the family visit, so weird, right?
Yeah, it was, it was really sweet, and I see why they did it, but I just wish that they had a 90-minute episode so we could have gotten the family visit plus a regular full-length episode of strategy.
Yeah, they were really squeezing it all in there, and the family visit ended up having nothing to do with the gameplay. Usually it has people like scrambling around, trying to figure out who they're going to choose after they've won, to go visit their families. They didn't have any of that. And Also, I hope the kids aren't traumatized by seeing their big, strong daddies just like breaking down like in the sand. It was so hard to watch.
Or smelling their moms.
Yeah. Poor things.
Yeah, but you know, everybody needs therapy, so they've got something to talk about later in their life.
Definitely.
There you go.
Therapy. There's such a lack of showing us the strategy this season.
Yeah.
They really could have given us like subtitles in these whispering conferences during the tribal councils or something to show us more. They obviously they didn't have time this time, but just really confused about the votes this time, like who voted for who. But
yeah, and I feel like in a season where we have such good strategic players, it's a bummer to see less strategy.
Right. That's what we want to see. That's what we're turning to see.
Yeah.
So predictions for next time? Jake?
I think Jeremy might be in trouble just because he kind of abandoned his foursome there. Well, I guess now it's a threesome because Tyson is gone.
Yeah, he bailed.
Yeah, he bailed. So he's kind of playing from the bottom, like you were saying earlier.
Right. But maybe he'll find an idol. There should be one.
Yeah, where are the idols?
I don't know. No one's looking. All right. And we love the group hug for Jeff. Everyone piling on. That was great.
Yeah, that was really sweet. I actually loved that people on the edge got to see their families because, you know, not for every season, but for this season, we just love all these players. So it's just nice to see them get something like that.
Yeah, that was great.
But thanks you guys so much for putting this podcast together.
Yes, it's fantastic. We love you both.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks, Jade. Thanks, Christine. Good job. Next up, we got a call from KimJ.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. It's KimJ from Nashville. I can't blame Jeremy for bailing on Tribal Council on Wednesday night. I have spent a lot of time on Reddit, Twitter, listening to podcasts with Survivor people who are far smarter than I am, on Dalton Ross's EW page, trying to figure out what on earth happened Wednesday night with that 5-2-2 vote that made 0 sense. And they have as much clue as I do. So I'm looking forward to the super fans here today to see what their theories are, because it made 0 sense. And as much as I would have loved for Jeremy to have stuck it out and for Kim to have played her idol on him, that whole alliance was doomed to fail because they came in with a target of Sophie who had an idol. And had they played a idol correctly on Tyson, she just would have played her idol on herself. And then we would have gotten, most likely at that point, Kim going home, which I would have been very disappointed to have seen. So the only way that whole strategy would have worked would have been for them to have come in with a different target, preferably Sarah. And even so, once they stole that vote, I thought, oh, this is brilliant. They're going to split the vote 3-3-3. Even if they do play the idol, they're still going to lose an alliance member. But then we got that weird 5-2-2 vote. So again, I don't know what happened Wednesday night. I am out on the whispering. I know it's not going to happen this season, but I hope that seasons going forward, Jeff's just going to shut that down. Like, you've got to come to Tribal with the plan. If you have an instance like on Wednesday when you have somebody use a safety without power and leave and people have to come up with another plan, that's fine. Have a conference, but I want to see some subtitles. I want to know what's going on. It's not fair as a viewer. We can't follow what's going on, especially in an episode when you spent 30 minutes to family visits and no time to strategy or camp life, which I saw a lot of people on Instagram excited about this episode. A lot of casuals thought this was the best episode of Survivor ever. I could not disagree more. CBS All Access already. I don't need to see these long, extended family visits, especially on Edge of Extinction. I'm a fan of, giving family visits a little bit of a reprieve just because it actually kind of stifles the strategy a little bit up until that point in the game, because a lot of people are just trying to make it to the family visit. So it's good that they had it early in this season. But if this season does not ramp up some, I'm starting to see why it was Jeff didn't want to do all winners. I'm actually kind of missing a little bit of those kooky, unpredictable characters that we have in previous seasons, because this season, with all winners, everybody's so close to the vest and they're not showing us any strategy. I don't know if it's editing or what, but this is nowhere near the level of Cagayan and Micronesia and Pearl Islands and Cambodia that I thought that this season was going to be. And frankly, I'm a little disappointed. Thanks, Joanne and Stacey, for all you do.
Thanks, KimJ. I know exactly of which you speak. Good job. Next up, we got an email from Josh the Plush Moose from Massachusetts. Dear Joanne and Stacy, welcome to Survivor, Bizarro World, family picnics, Tony's calm, and Jeff gets a group hug. Here are my other observations. After 40 seasons, Survivor finally held a Bring Your Kids to Work Day. That's good. Denise needs her daughter and husband to reach stuff on the upper shelves, no doubt. Tony's wife, Marissa, looked relieved to finally have all three of her kids in one place again. Tyson says he runs around on an island in his underwear for work and is kind of stinky. Except for the island part, he sounds a lot like work-from-home telecommuters. Given the twist that the Loved Ones Challenge was really a family picnic, I almost expected the immunity challenge to be a potato sack race. I feel sorry for Fiji Airways. They paid a lot for that in-show ad, but won't get a return on their investment. Yeah, not anytime soon, at least. I'm not surprised that the full cast got to spend time with their families. Imagine the tantrums we'd have seen if the kids got sent home after 5 minutes with their parents. Man, that would have had repercussions, though. That just really, we missed out on a family visit impact.
I don't think I could handle that.
That would have been beyond anything we've ever seen before. Edge angst. Don't you hate when guests drop by unannounced and your cupboard is bare? The producers are cruel. Right after Ethan says he never wants to be away from his wife, bye-bye. It's a good thing the kids are gone before the IMMUNITY challenge. The younger ones would have wanted to play with the blocks. It was ironic that walking Looney Toony Tony won an immunity challenge by being slow and steady. Is it me, or do some of the winners seem to think that the others aren't playing correctly if they're not being allowed to dictate the gameplay? Yeah, we always hear that. I'm with Tony. Calmly disagreeing with Sarah isn't freaking out at her. No, it isn't. Her not getting her way, though. That means you're freaking out on found himself alone in the eye of a ferocious whisper storm. Sarah and Jeremy waiting each other out at Tribal reminded me of Alphonse and Gaston. Given that the votes had already been cast, it didn't matter how Kim used her idol. The best she could have achieved was a 2-2 tie with Denise losing on the revote. Did you ever in your wildest dreams think that we'd see Jeff get swallowed by a group hug at Tribal? Nope. Next, everyone lies, especially the editors. Bingo. Tune in Wednesday for the true-ish story. Anyway, that's it for me for now. Thanks, Joanna Stacy, for all you do. Can't wait to hear what the other fans have to say. Stay safe, everybody. Thanks, Josh. Good job. Next up, we got a call from Jeremiah.
Hello, everyone. It's Jeremiah here, and I just came here to say I got a vote off point, and Stacy did not. Okay, I'll say some other things other than just that. Obviously, the two big things that happened in this episode is the loved ones visit, which sucked up most of the episode, and then, of course, this crazy tribal council. Stacy, like yourself, I've never been a huge fan necessarily of the loved ones visit, and I know that also makes me sound very cold-hearted. But I will admit, this one did have me a little choked up with all the kids involved. No tears were shed necessarily, but I did get emotional watching it. The only disappointment I had in the whole thing was we had to also spend time on EOE for the same thing. Don't get me wrong, I am so glad they got to see their family as well, and it was emotional and touching too, but that is something that could have been an extra video on CBS All Access, or even maybe the main website. As for the rest of the episode, obviously lots of drama and excitement came out of this one. If you break down all of the craziness that happened during Tribal Council, I think the biggest takeaway for me was having a little bit more definition on who is with who. Because this has been very cloudy throughout this season since the merge. I definitely loved the standoff between Sarah and Jeremy, very entertaining. And I honestly cannot blame Jeremy, of course, for playing his advantage. This was his last opportunity to do so. He felt like he's in danger, so it was definitely smart for him to use it then. And honestly, now that I've had a little more time to break things down, I don't think him leaving really made much of a difference, especially with the vote still being used. What do you guys think? Another question for you guys, is all the drama that comes from all the whispering and stuff, is it getting old for you guys? Should Jeff put a stop to all the whispering? If I was a player, I'd want it to continue. But as a TV viewer, especially if we're not going to get any subtitles on what's being said, it's easy to get lost on what's going on, and I don't think that's very entertaining. I just have a lot of mixed feelings about it. Obviously, I loved Kim's bold move. Unfortunately for her, she chose the wrong person. I guess the biggest mystery for me right now is, how did Michelle know to vote for Tyson? Went back and watched that thing again, and I couldn't understand exactly where she was given that information unless she just guessed correctly. Obviously, I'm very excited about the position my new USB Tony is in. He looks pretty solid to be in control of this thing. What do you guys think? As for who's going home next week, I think it's pretty clear. Since Michelle somehow knew who to vote for, I feel like Denise, Kim, and Jeremy are obviously on the bottom, and I definitely think Kim is a goner. So I'm locking in my votes right now. In fact, I may even do it today and not even worry about anything next week, because that's who I think is going home. Okay, that's it for me. You guys take care, and until next time, this is Jeremiah from Southern California.
You know, thanks, Jeremiah. I don't actually think Michelle knew who the vote was for. I think she was guessing, because on the video where they showed her vote, she kind of shrugged like, I don't know, Tyson. I think she was just trying to deflect votes off of herself because she didn't know who they were coming after. So she was trying to make sure it wasn't her. She'd throw a vote toward whoever she thought they might vote for.
Yeah. I guess I looked at it a couple different ways. One is she talked to someone and they told her, because she's got a good connection with that person, and she was making that gesture because she was going against the group she was supposedly in. And the other one fits with what you're saying in that she just somehow guessed, although that seems a little unlikely.
I don't know.
When we were watching it in each of them, it almost looked like Nick was saying, I don't think it's going to be you, when he was voting for Tyson.
Well, and
which was confusing and strange, too. So maybe I misread his lips there.
And also, Jeremiah, I also am getting a little bit tired of the excessive amount of whispering that's going on.
A lot of us watch because we're really... we get our enjoyment out of the gameplay portion, and you want to feel like you've got some information to, even though you're not always given everything or enough, that you've got some information to sort of divine what's going on, where the lines are.
Or form some opinion, even if it's wrong.
Yeah, so we've talked a lot on the podcast over the years about how the edit lies to us sometimes, and then you get those red flags, warning bells, where there's all kinds of misdirections, and you're left with incomplete stories. And that when we're calling that out, what we're doing is saying, this might end up being one of those seasons where you just out of the blue end up with someone else winning, and you got no basis for it. You want to feel like there's a reason and for the sequence of events ending up the way they did, and
keep us guessing, but don't shock us all the time,
or hide the true story just so that you can you can shock us in that regard. So I'm also not a fan of the whispering, not getting a sense of what's going on. I like surprises, that's cool, and I think there are times when they do that really well. And one of the easiest ways of doing that is to show 3-4 options for who the targets are in course of discussions that come up, but they have to have enough time to have those discussions, and you have to have players that have the kind of acumen for the game that they're willing to consider other options.
Well, and it's happening so fast and so simultaneously that you can't always tell who's talking to whom, and even to say, those two are, you can't always see who all's talking to who.
I'm in agreement with the other super fans. There's nothing enjoyable about watching all that and having no clue of what's going down.
Yeah, I agree.
Thanks, Jeremiah. Next up, we got a call from Jen.
Hi, everyone. This is Jen in California. Every season, I just love the family visits. I love the emotion. I love the drama caused by having to pick players to come on a reward with you and leaving others behind and not being able to visit with their family members. But this season, I don't know whether I have grown a heart of stone or what, but this season's family visit episode didn't do it for me. In fact, I hated it. I was
No
there for it at the
consequence.
beginning. I was ready to see the reunion with kids and spouses and fiancés and sisters and all of that. And I think that part delivered. But then everybody just gets to go back to camp with their loved ones. There's no challenge or anything. That hit a little bit of a sour note with me. But I thought, okay, this is the twist. They did draw rocks before to have a family visit challenge. So, I mean, that's not the worst thing that could happen. And it was cute watching kids play in the water and the families bonding and all of that stuff. But if I'm being honest, I really wanted to see a challenge. I really wanted to see that winner-loser dynamic. There's no need to feel sorry for these people. They all each are millionaires or were millionaires or at one time had $1 million. It's okay to only let them see their family members from afar for like 3 minutes or so. But to just let them all go back to camp, I was not all right with it initially, but I became okay with it, and that was all well and good and fine. But then we cut to my favorite place, edge of extinction. We see a boat on the horizon, a swift-moving boat coming here. Could it be something good? No, it's bad. It's always something bad. No, it's not something bad. It's something that shouldn't have happened. These people who have been voted out of the game, who are still having an undue, heavy-handed influence on the game that they have a chance to get back into, are going to get a loved one's visit? What? If my heart had been turned to stone before, it turned black and crumbled into dust at that point. I joke. But seriously, this was such a waste of time. By the time we got down to the whole strategy of Survivor thing, which is why I watched the show, we saw the typical chaos that we've seen this season, which I love, but which really doesn't tell us much about strategy. Why? Because there's not enough time to do so, because we just spent about a half an hour on family visits for people who aren't even going to get back into the game. We get to Tribal Council, we get to see all the excited whispering, we got to see Sophie, super duper Sophie, just draw that line in the sand. I loved it. We got to see Jeremy make a big move for himself, controversial move too. And then we got to see Tyson voted out for the second time. This should have been a big, big episode, and we were not shown the things that we needed to be shown to understand this. Now, don't get me wrong, I still love Survivor, but I didn't love this episode. I'm surprised they didn't just show us Sandra's reunion with her family on Ponderosa. Why not? I mean, that's it for me. Can't wait to hear what everyone else has to say. Till next week when you hear from my cold heart again. This is Jen in California. Bye.
Thanks, Jen. Why not?
Stacy's loving it.
Yeah. Well, I definitely share their sentiment.
Well,
there's no consequence for this. They could have even done it differently. They could have given everyone time. Then they could have had a challenge. And then the people who won the challenge, their families could have stayed with them overnight.
Bottom line.
Your hands up?
My hands up. Bottom line, all they had to do was make it an 1.5 hour episode, and everybody would be okay.
Maybe.
You get a real episode, and you get the other stuff.
The extra.
So everybody can be content.
There you
But
go.
because we didn't get the full episode, we feel cheated.
That's where some people are left. Other people absolutely loved it. And I like all that we can bring the different views together and share our perspectives there. We got one more call. Let's check in with Paul.
Hey, Paul in Louisiana here. And you know, I've said it before and I'm saying it again. I sort of feel bad, but I don't care about family reunions. And as they brought out entire generations of families, I kept thinking, come on, let's get back to the show. So, yeah, there were no tears here. Well, at first, anyway. What I really wanted to see, though, was the look on Michelle's face when I imagined Jeff saying, Michelle, we have some love for you as well. Here's Wendell. But we all know that didn't happen. So, yeah, no tears. Until the cameras left everyone at camp and we saw a boat arrive at extinction. That's when I cried a bit, when I realized that we were really going to lose half of the show to people that I don't know. And to be brutally honest, if I wanted to know these family members, I'd send out friend requests on Facebook. Okay, but seriously, I have to say that I honestly disliked seeing Jeremy's wife Val come out because, man, she played such a horrid game when she was out there how many seasons ago. And I got like a bad taste in my mouth when I saw her. All I could hear in my head was her saying, I've got 4 idols. Go ahead and vote me out. Whatever. Complaint number 2. Honestly, live tribals. I'm against these as well. I personally feel that they're chaotic, and it makes Jeff worthless until he announces the vote. Me, I honestly love his questions, how he puts people under the screws, and live tribals eliminate that fun for me. And I see online that it's not just me complaining, so maybe just maybe, this will be rectified in later seasons. So yeah, Jeremy has proven without a doubt that the safety without power advantage is just as bad as winning the challenge where you get to pick 2 other people to go with you on reward. But what was he supposed to do? I had him picked to go because I thought they'd hide their intentions better, but I see now that it's going to be very tough keeping things quiet from here on out. There's just too much cross-pollinating, even between competing alliances. And because of that, I just don't expect any deals to stand strong for any length of time. Now, was I glad to see Tyson go again? Honestly, yes and no. He's going to offer Boston Rob a good run for his money on Extinction, so I like that. But if Tyson comes back in a second time and miraculously makes it to the final 3, I can easily see him winning. So that doesn't make me happy. Wow, am I on a downward spin with this feedback or what? Trying not to be, though. So yeah, Jeremy goes next, or Tony. Honestly, I hadn't thought about Tony until Joanne and Stacy here mentioned it. But that's all based on previews, so who knows? I think I'm going to go with Jeremy. I keep picking the same person over and over, right up until the week that they go, and that's when I switch to someone else. That's just the way I roll. Okay, I guess I am out of here. Take care, and everyone, please be safe. Bye.
Thanks, Paul. Okay. So
I've been doing that too.
It's not Jeremy if Paul's got that locked in. So we can take him off the list. Somehow he's got to be safe. He must win immunity. All right, thank you for that, Paul.
After I said that about Tony, I thought, wait, what am I thinking? They're so after Jeremy that surely they'll go back to going after Jeremy to get him out. But I thought, I don't know, though. I've relaxed since then again.
There's always the as long as it's not me, I'm fine pivoting to someone else scenario. And that's super active this season in terms of the strategy. Yeah. We have people like Adam overthinking things, and other folks are, just as long as it ain't me, then we're good to go. Just tell me who we going with.
Yeah, you just don't know who might upset someone during the gameplay, or for a reward, or for anything that just turns any alliance upside down.
Yes, we need things that demonstrate a pecking order. Things need to have consequence. That's part of what Jen was talking about.
I don't know if there really is a pecking order.
They have the structure of challenges that allow you to demonstrate that. They're just not using it.
There is, but I think each individual has their own pecking order.
Or smaller groups.
Especially in this season.
Yeah, there certainly can be smaller groups, but just seeing those decisions get made where it's 1, 2, and 3, like Jen was saying, when you have to choose for a family visit, the resentment that the person who didn't
I could not have handled that. I just couldn't handle that.
Understood. I'm not specifically talking about the family visit, but that's an example of pecking order in the way that there's consequences and repercussions, and we're not seeing any of that be integrated so that you can factor it in.
I don't think Jeff could have handled that, because how do you have a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old screaming for their mama and daddy and going red in the face and fainting backwards, having a tantrum, and
imagine having to deal with that.
Pull the kid away.
That's consequence
from their mom
right
or
there.
their daddy.
Yeah.
I just couldn't do it.
Well, and they never intended to. So
thank goodness, because I couldn't have handled that
at all. And that's, someone like Jen.
Because they're too little, they don't understand.
Jen or myself or Paul or KimJ, any of us could have handled that for them.
Yeah,
we could have set it up and run it. So let's go back to Noelle. She's just sure that I'm a puddle blubbering on family visits. What's your observation on how I react to family visits? Well,
and addressing Slappy as well. I don't try to change him.
Okay, so
that's why we work, is we allow each other to be who we are.
Yeah.
We don't have to agree, because we don't always, but we do allow the other person to just be who they are.
Exactly.
Even if they're wrong.
Now the Noelle question.
The Noelle question, which was, remind me again.
Do I end up crying during the family visits on Survivor?
Yes.
No. You liar.
Well, I said that because I knew you wanted me to say
the other.
No.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, the truth is no, he doesn't.
They've never really had that kind of impact on me. Now, we're watching a movie, or we haven't done it in a long time, but like when we were reading Harry Potter together, and there's a loss of a character that we both dearly enjoyed.
Well, yes,
and
but
I'm reading
we
out
lost
loud.
our animal simultaneously with reading that.
In that scenario, yes, I'm crying. Anyway,
yeah.
A fictional character I was trying to use as an example for something that didn't even reach this level potentially is, yes, I certainly do.
A fictional character, yes.
Watching a movie and there's a beloved character or some kind of self-sacrifice situation or something like that, I end up crying. Even Joanne doesn't. So there's some things that hit me more emotionally.
Oh, I would cry with that scenario. I don't know where you're coming
In any
from.
case, my point is that there are times when I'm crying when we're watching something and you're not. It doesn't
Even
hit
if
you that
somebody
way.
does something that's super kind, it makes me cry.
Mm-hmm.
Someone shows a kindness, I
So
just cry.
It's not that I don't end up showing
No.
emotions in the context of
Well,
the stories. It's
you don't
to me,
cry
it's,
often.
It's like the same reason I can't stand
Of course, neither
watching
do I,
Jimmy Fallon. Because it seems so insincere in his responses, and you read that completely differently. But when I'm trying to watch him and he's doing that fake laugh when he's interviewing people and things, it just puts me on edge. I can't stand to watch it.
Now, I will say that when I went back and watched, there's a clip of the family visit and where they talk a little bit about it, that made me cry.
Uh-huh.
But I was in the room by myself, so I was free to cry.
Okay. Free, as in you're not free to cry around me? Is that what you're implying?
No, you'd be doing that thing you do.
Okay.
No,
whatever
I'm just
that means.
kidding.
Yeah.
No, he doesn't. So.
Not for that. Just because it's, what did Rashmi call it? Psychobabble that Probst does. And I'm hard on Probst. I believe that he loves the show and all these things he's doing.
And it genuinely moves him.
Good intentions on his part, but we know the good intentions pave trails to bad places sometimes too.
And he knows how it feels to be separated from family out doing that.
Yeah. It's just that he seems to unwittingly, unknowingly, constantly be working to subvert the very essence that makes the game interesting.
Can't please everyone.
That's true, but that's part of what concerns me with some of the stuff, and whether it's allowing the whispering to go on excessively or, without at least giving us subtitles. And maybe that's because they couldn't give us subtitles. They couldn't hear either.
They didn't know, yeah.
Yeah, and that kind of situation doesn't make it any less.
And there was too much. You couldn't put that many subtitles with that many people, off at once. But
yeah, you need an infographic to help you track it. Yeah, interesting. So a wide variety of takes on this past episode and some good insight into what we can expect next.
But the next episode will give us all what we want.
Maybe. Let's hope. Although I can already tell they're going to Edge of Extinction, but that's going to be necessary to get Tony whatever it is that he needs to
that's what
make
you
his
think
deal.
is
That's my
happening?
theory. Yeah.
Okay. Did Probst have anything else to say in his article with Dalton that
it's good. It's worth a read. They're not always that spectacular, but it was good. I think one of the things, well, see, you bring it up, and it's one of the things that annoys me. He's talking about so many great things that they can't show because of the unlimited time. And we all sit here and go, well, you've got a vehicle for delivering those things. It's called the internet. If you can't do a longer episode because you can't manage the ratings.
Tell what he told.
Well, yeah. So he said that at one of the challenges where they had split the idol up, so, two tribes end up winning. At the beginning of it, he goes to get the two pieces, and he's not able to reassemble the immunity idol.
Yeah, he's trying to say,
and all the castaways are just giving him a hard time.
They're heckling him.
Dig deep, Probst.
Yeah.
Yeah, hitting him with all the Probst line. Probst is really struggling.
Can't handle the puzzles.
Yeah, and I would have loved to have seen that.
Deep.
Absolutely, that would have been great to
And you
see.
know, it made him laugh because he does it to them all the
Turn
time.
the tables on him. Yeah, so it's on the one hand it's funny and enjoyable to read, and the other is, and why couldn't you have provided that?
Why couldn't we see that?
Yeah, we're a little frustrated with the lack of extras.
Well, an extra clip would be perfect for something like that. Give it to us.
Season 40 in this star-studded season.
And there was almost no clips this week.
Yeah, it was
What
very
we have?
weak.
2
It was
that wasn't out of the show.
Yeah, you got to see a little more with the family visit. You could see that huge picnic table with the big feast that they got. So they got fed too. And
all that food. Wow.
It was all about bonus. There was no consequence. It was just like extras.
And Yule's second daughter was there.
Yeah.
And Rob and Amber's, there were 3 grandparents there
that were helping with the 4 kids. Yeah.
So it did show that.
I saw something where Rachel had said that she didn't actually know they had an option to bring the whole family. So somehow they didn't communicate really well with them in that regard. Otherwise they would have...
Tyson's Rachel?
Yeah, they would have potentially had their other daughter, although she said she was 10 months old rather. So that would have been really hard to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a mixed bag, I guess.
She was probably better off to stay with the grandparents or whoever.
Yeah.
That would be a rough trip.
Well,
for both of them
absolutely.
They're that young.
Yeah, absolutely. We want to say a big thank you to everyone for taking the time to send in your thoughts and predictions for us to consider this week, and your analysis and your different insights. We appreciate it all. Good job to everyone. A big thanks to Kim for your recurring donation. Thank you so much for doing that. We greatly appreciate your support.
And if you play in JSFL, don't forget to make your picks for next week before the deadline, 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific time on Wednesdays.
One more thing. We saw we forgot to mention it during the recap. There was the announcement about the finale. So it's on the 13th, and we'll get 3 hours. So they've been bleeding the episode over into what originally was the reunion show hour. And they're going to do a virtual reunion show. So they'll have them all calling into some teleconference, video conference thing, I'm sure, for doing that. So that's how they're going to handle it. So there won't be an audience. We won't get any of that.
Well, we knew that was going to happen.
Finale. Yeah, that's what we suspected. But as something to look forward to, the episode before the finale, what they call the penultimate,
the 6th
episode, will actually be 2 hours long. I'm not sure if that's a double episode.
It has to be a double elimination.
So two different episodes back to back, basically, or if it's like the first episode of the season where it was engineered to be 2 hours.
I would actually like to see 2 more doubles because
to make the numbers work out. So
well, at this rate, I don't know if they're going to do what is day 36. That'll be during the finale, so we won't know who's coming back.
Right.
That's going to make it...
Yeah, it's another example of how things are going to be jam-packed. Let's just leave it that way, not put a negative spin on it. But there'll be a lot to do with the return from Edge of Extinction challenge. The second return challenge will happen, and then they'll have a couple of final immunity challenges.
I'm just thinking in terms of JSFL.
A couple of immunity challenges. Yeah, the confusion there. And what it means to me.
But we've done it before, so no problem.
Yeah, we'll make it work. It'll be challenging.
Yeah.
But we've got that to look forward to, so there's more content as we close in and head towards the finale this season. Anything else you'd like to add?
Nope, other than I'm still enjoying, and I look forward to next Wednesday's episode.
Have a good one.